Lightworkers Unite is a podcast and social show hosted by intuitive women, lightworkers, and most importantly, friends, Mayume and Manjeet. Welcome to our podcast, where we believe there is a lightworker within all of us.
Whether you are a medium, an educator, or a nuclear technologist, there's a lightworker within you, and we have work to do.
This is a call to action.
Let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
So did you miss me? It's been 2 weeks. Nobody's heard any new podcasts. We're just like...
It's summertime. It is summertime, girl. Like, things are crazy busy, right? And all good. And yeah, so we should probably set up a little broadcast like on location. We keep talking about that, and we still don't do it, but
yeah, I think because when we get there, we get so inundated and busy, right? That
no, it looks good on paper. Yeah. And then we show up and we're like, it's really hard. Yeah.
Like, oh, I can't get into my hotel room, or oh, the plane was late, or it's like we got these grand visions. But today, so how are you feeling? Let's take a minute. How are you doing? How is your heart? Where is your mind? How are you feeling?
Well, I've been coming off of a slight cold. I think it was a cold. I don't know. I was really congested last week, just for about 4 days. I still have remnants of it.
Yeah.
So that kind of set me back a little bit, a couple days of just taking NyQuil and shit and knocking myself out so I could sleep. But I feel like I was draining I think I talked about draining my lymph nodes a little bit and just getting through something, just a little shift. So I feel better, actually. I feel like I got that gunk out of me, whatever it was, toxic energy was in me. And so I feel a little cleaner. I think that sounds weird, right? Cleaning out.
No, it's awesome.
Congestion. And my heart is that this summer is, as you know, because I share it with you, is that I'm in huge transition right now with my daughter going to college. My oldest, Melina, and we've just ended a beautiful tournament with her and her team, Lady Hawks, Washington Lady Hawks, for softball. It was the Nationals in Huntington Beach, and it's a very bittersweet feeling. They didn't make it. They didn't go very far in the tournament, which was such a bummer. But everything happens for a reason, and here I am just feeling a little sad about this change that's upon us, that ending, and a new adventure beginning with her going to college to play softball, actually, which is fantastic. But that happens in a couple weeks, and so August 19th. Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But other than that, man, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah. Lots of transition. Yeah. I'm feeling, I was just away for a couple weeks. I spent some time by myself, which was really lovely, to just kind of decompress. And I do feel that I'm going through like a transition. Like I really normally, for my weekend, I would have gone on a girls' weekend or, done something kind of, usually I do something fun or a gathering. But this year I was by myself, which was really, my family joined me afterward on my actual birthday. But yeah, I really felt like I needed that time, and which is really ironic, isn't it? Because we've been alone. we've been in isolation and quarantining for like a year and a half, but it's been with my family. And so,
well, right. It's not really alone.
No,
quite the opposite.
It felt so amazing to just be on my own, just be by myself and just really kind of embrace like just change and shift, and it really kind of coming back to like the world coming back alive again.
Yes. I don't know about you. Doesn't it feel like 0 to 65? I think we said that last time. It's just been really, everything's transitional right now.
Right. And so what does transition mean to you? Like the word itself?
you just crack me up with these, because we don't plan this, so I don't know that you're gonna ask me these questions on the spot. I should probably prep. Well, transitions, I think are so many things because it's change, really.
Yeah.
It's just, and I love change. I really embrace change. I've always liked change, and I know there's people there who hate change. I'm
Mm-hmm.
actually married to a guy who doesn't really like change. He likes routine. He likes predictability and just something reliable. And I think when it
Mm-hmm.
just routine things that are kind of moving along, and we always have change. There's big changes, little changes. So small transitions are happening, I think, daily, weekly. And then we have these enormous transitions of where we have to, it could be a death in a family. It
Yeah.
could be, a sickness, and those I know are negative. It could be your child going to college is a transition.
Yeah.
Your body transitions. So if you're losing weight, if you're sick, if you're going through menopause, right, if you're female, and just little things, aging, there's different milestones of transitions that I think show up. And I think if life doesn't have transitions and doesn't have change, then you become stuck and stagnant. And it
Mm.
makes room for the new. So transitions can be hard depending on what you're going through from one thing to the next. I think if we embrace it and if we are acknowledging it and aware that, okay, feels like I'm going through a transition here, or you're going through a transition. How can I help? How can I be aware of this? And then what steps can I take to make this process a little smoother? I think
Mm-hmm.
because it can be hard on people that are
Yeah.
transitioning. So I don't know. Did I even fucking answer your question? I just
Yeah,
was like,
totally. See, that was so brilliant. I was like, "Oh my God!" Like, you were like right off the cuff.
no. I
You're
was like, am
flipping me
I
shit for throwing it
talking?
at you, and I'm like, "Oh my God, this is like a
Oh, I felt like
beautiful."
I was in circles, but all
No, but
right. So
what I heard, and I think maybe our audience probably will get their own pieces from that. But what I loved about your definition or your interpretation of the word is that it really does feel that transition is not just physical. It's also an emotional thing. It is a
oh yeah.
spiritual thing, right? It's an energetic thing. So that really that word, I think that we're talking about today is what is it like to be in transition, and how do we deal with that? It's just so multifaceted, and I think when we hit transition in multiple different areas of our lives, energetically, spiritually, physically, it can be really draining. It can be scary, it can feel uncomfortable, right? Even though we do like change, when you're hitting us in transition with a lot of different pieces and parts of us, I think it amplifies that feeling of uncertainty and fear and a little bit of like, I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know what's going on. I don't know if I like it.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
so true. We don't know if whether or not it's a good or bad or but fear, that's key right there, that word. If
Yeah.
definitely things can be scary and if we come from a place of fear, then they're definitely we're rooted in fear as we're moving through the transition instead of okay, I'm going to ground myself and plant myself, anchor myself, right?
Yeah.
And I'm going to go with faith instead.
Mm,
I'm just going to
yeah.
trust that this is all divine and kind of, jump in the river of flow and let the current take me to where it needs to go. And I have to live. I feel like I live that way. Just and I love water and I love the river. So for me, it's like a great metaphor for me to live by. Like,
Mm,
okay, the river is going to have bends and curves and it's going to some rocky areas and then it's going to have some calm, right? And that's what a
yeah.
river does. It has bumps and rapids, but then there's always that calmness at some point in between where you're just floating, right? And
Mm,
enjoying and soaking it up. And then here they come again. Bump, bump, bump. Got to go around the bend. I mean, every river has it. That's just how it flows. And those are transitions in the river and those are changes. And I yes, some rapids are scary and bumpy and we might go underwater, but there's always going to be a time of calmness and stillness where we can float and just enjoy it.
Yeah.
So I just,
Well, I love that because I think, I think you're right that in the like the river, we have moments of peace and quiet. And that's kind of where I was this month was this
yes, you
place
were.
of quiet and really introspective and just really trying to embrace that quietness. And that's not where I live. I mean, I'm usually like, like most busy people in our podcast, we're running
Yeah.
from place to place, doing this, doing this. And so for me, that was part of the transition was embracing the silence, embracing the quiet part of the river
Mm,
so that I
yeah.
could just really absorb because that is actually like, that's where I felt like I was making the most progress. Like I was actually quiet enough. So
Yeah.
instead of punishing myself or feeling guilty that I'm not doing enough or, why am
That
I
you weren't
doing
out
this?
there paddling.
Yeah. Yeah. Just floating, being in that area. And I think that's a really important piece of transition is transition doesn't always mean busy. It also means being quiet
Yes.
and being still. Like, I
Yeah.
love that when you said that about the river, because I really resonated with that. And it can be uncomfortable to be still, to really be in your own
Yeah.
thoughts. But oh my God, I made so many meditations last
I love
week.
it.
Like, I just was totally in my body, in my DNA. I was totally like, okay, where am I going? What am I doing? Where am I transitioning to? And why? Why is this happening? So
I love it.
asking ourselves those questions.
Questions.
You can ask those questions, but you can't always be in a place to listen if you're not
That's right.
quiet, right?
So true,
Yeah.
man. I love that you're saying this. And it's true. Some people are uncomfortable with doing nothing or just the being, right? And
Yeah.
are uncomfortable with stillness, with silence. Even in my meditation meetup, sometimes there's just silence where we just sit, for 60 seconds
Mm,
of silence. I think it feels glorious to
yeah.
just quiet your mind. But some people are like a little fidgety or uncomfortable, and then thoughts come in, and then they're trying to task or so. Um, I think that's a great thing to honor, actually, for those that struggle with either peace. Maybe you're struggling where you just want peace and quiet, and it's the rapids that get you, that pull you under, and you're like, I
Mm,
just, if everyone could just leave me alone, I just need time by myself. And then there's the opposite, like you, who's someone who's always going, 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 and is a doer, to actually sit by yourself, on that river floating and be still. Now,
yeah.
so I love the float and I love that stillness, but if I have a girlfriend or two in the inner
Yeah.
tube next to me, that's awesome, and a floaty.
With some weight claws. What?
Yeah, they're in the cooler floating behind us.
Yeah, they
I
are.
that's just like that's kind of one of my favorite places to go if I want to really pull from gratitude and happiness and I need to get there
Yes.
fast in that high frequency. I usually put myself on a floaty on a river with girlfriends.
Oh, oh my
Honest to
God.
God.
Yeah, I've been there with you on
I
a
know.
few occasions. I know, and it is, and I love that, right? I think we're kind of talking about strategy a little bit now, right? Like, how are some of the ways that we can embrace the transition that we're going through, even though it might feel uncomfortable, you
Yeah.
know? So I think that, like, you're talking about fear. So just maybe releasing that fear, letting go of the fear of the unknown and just trusting in the process. That's what we call it in
Right.
coaching, right? Trust the process. Trust that, you know, there is never really a linear line to wherever you're going. It usually will always deviate and go back and forth and up and down and move forward and backwards and go fast and go slow. And that's your process, right?
Yeah.
And along the way, you're getting blessings and wisdom and guidance from your spirit guides and your ancestors. So
Yes. For
it's
all
just,
you light workers, right? Yes.
yeah, yeah. So just
It
really
is.
trusting in
It's
that
trusting.
process. Yeah, I love, right? And then I liked how you said that earlier. It's like, almost like replacing the trust with something else that is empowering to you, right? Like replacing trust with gratitude, and
Yeah.
joy and fun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because so let's use something as an example. If someone was to come to us, right?
Okay.
Let's say it's someone who is fear based, and let's say they're going through a transition that's really scary,
Yeah.
and maybe it's as simple as, well, let's say if it's physical, because that can
Oh,
be
okay.
scary.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do this because I'd really love to honor those that are looking at us going, oh my God, these light workers and they're floating down the river with their white claws. Like, oh, sure, transition's so easy for you.
Yeah.
But so,
That's awesome.
and since you, my beautiful intuitive life coach, are saying, yeah, here's some strategy. What I'm hearing is like, yeah, let's give real tools and something that's
Yeah.
really scary that those are saying I'm fucking scared because I'm going to have to, maybe they're going to lose a breast. Right. That's a transition. You've gone
Yeah.
through some transitions, with regards to breast cancer.
Yeah.
I've gone through, I'm postmenopause. TMI,
Yeah.
everyone. Yes, it's been a
Yes.
long time. And that was a slower transition, but still, like, the aging
Oh,
of your body is a
yes.
transition. So there's some that are drastic that are going to change overnight, and some are going to take, some time. Manjeet's
Sorry.
hitting the mic again.
I'm getting excited. I'm making notes.
I
I
love
love
it.
it.
You're making it. And but let's talk about a sickness or a disease or death. All right. So I
Yeah.
just think some of these are heavy emotional, physical transitions. And so, yeah, it'd be hard to sit in a place of gratitude when you're sad, angry, and scared, and you're trying to pull or connect with, let's say, a God, a source, a creator, a higher power, spirit, and you're feeling doubtful and you're just in a dark, low frequency space of fear.
Hmm.
What are some of the things we can do to pull us up and to see the light and still sit in the light when going through tragedy of transitions or transitions of tragedy? And I know I went
Ooh.
really boom,
Damn,
but
girl. You went
well,
deep hard.
I did. I'm sorry. I know I
But
did.
I love it. I love it.
I
It's
felt it. I
really,
just,
it's important. Yeah, no, I love it. We're like, yay, transition. But no, I mean, we're real people that have gone through some
yeah,
serious trauma, have gone through some really, really big transitions with growing families and complex relationships, living, your mother living with you who's elderly. I mean, there is a
yeah,
lot of transition happening around us all the time. And we've been through a lot of the transitions. Some of my deepest and most profound transitions have been with you, we
yeah.
as my soul sister. So yeah, I think this is important to talk about. So, what do you think would be the very first step when you're going through a really profound transition like death or breast cancer or like you were saying with
Oh,
menopause, it's a little bit
yeah.
longer, but what would you
There's
say?
so many things, right? You're so right,
Yeah.
Manji. We're constantly in transition, right? And some
Hmm.
of them are always in happening in time, and then some are boom, where
Yes.
it's like this ends and this begins.
Right.
So my biggest thing, and I know you coach this, is really first acknowledging it, like
Yeah.
saying, "Holy shit, my mom's losing her memory, and now I'm in a transition of some some big decisions of making some some care decisions, testing decisions, and so and then so I'm aware that this is happening, and I'm acknowledging it. Now I have to see how I feel. So I decided to, like, okay, Mayum, how do you feel about this? Like, what's going
Yeah.
on with me? As opposed
Yeah.
to ignoring my feelings and just going with it, I
Yeah.
sat with it and I realized that I'm super sad. Like, I could cry about
Oh,
it because
yeah.
I feel like I'm losing her. Do you know? Sorry, I'm going to cry right now.
Yeah. I
So
know.
that transition is, first I had to really acknowledge my feelings. Where am I
Yeah.
at in this change right now? And there's different
Yeah.
things going on, like with my daughter, that's happy. I know, I'm sorry I made you cry.
I
Well,
know. I love that, but it's a big one. Yeah.
it's a big one. And so I'm sad. And so I have to acknowledge that. And
Hmm.
then, and I have to take a deep breath in and say, okay, so now that I know that I'm sad, what do I need to do to make this transition the smoothest, the easiest for all of us involved?
Yeah.
And still honoring my feelings and probably seeking help, right? And
Yeah.
support.
Yeah.
Using my brothers, saying I need your help with this. I don't want to do this alone. My
Mm.
family, people are going to need some patience. Some people are going to also have to acknowledge it, as
Yeah.
opposed to like, oh no, 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 that's normal, natural, and all that. And yes, it is, but still we have to go through it. So
Yeah.
I would say acknowledging my feelings, knowing that I have to take action, and then probably seeking help, support
Yes. I love
for this
that.
transition. Yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, so tell me, I mean, I'm going to come to you. Like, what would your
Yeah.
suggestions be for?
Yeah, no, I'm so sorry to hear that, my sister. I know we've been talking offline about, the transition with your mom and a lot of us are having older parents now that are passing
Yeah.
away and transitioning into, the afterlife and all that good stuff and becoming our ancestral spirits, right? They're transitioning into a new
Yeah.
role in our lives. But yeah, I do think, and I'm kind of reflecting back on, when I was diagnosed, because if that was one of those boom door, even though I had this big
Yes.
lump in my breast for years, thank God it was really slow growing. I still, it was like, okay, we need to get going now, today. Like, here's where we're going. This is what we're gonna do. Um,
Yeah.
and I feel like number one, you're right, is awareness, is kind of opening the door to like the truth, the reality of the situation. And for me, that's where I do my data collection. That's where my brain goes, right? Like, and then that's kind of where you're going with your mom, I think, getting the doctor's appointments, right? You're getting yourself in
Yeah.
alignment with getting the answers that you need. And that really is about problem solving. Like now once you get awareness, then you
Yes.
can address the problem. You can't problem
Yes.
solve when you don't see an issue.
Uh, yes.
Yeah. So I
Right.
think that's brilliant that, number one is really acknowledging, okay, I am in a profound state of transition. And I need to get some data in order to feel empowered. So for me, data collection was about empowering myself. Here are my options. This is what I'm going to do. These are the people that are going to support me, and that's the next couple steps. I
Yeah.
think after I after we data collect, after we create the awareness, and really just in your case, it's a morning. It's like oh my God, like this is really happening, and it is an inevitability, right? This happens in as we grow older. It's not like it's something we can deny because it's part of what happens in of
Mm-hmm.
humans, our being, right? So just kind of wrapping yourself around that the sadness of that. Then I think the next step, and you said this as well. For me, it's about the grounding and the self healing. So when you're going through a transition, I feel like once you've acknowledged it and it's right in front of you, then the work begins of self-healing. And even if you're working with somebody else in transition, if we don't clean up our shit and manage ourselves, that transition can
Right.
be really hard.
Oh,
So,
yeah. No kidding.
yeah. So I feel like
Mm-hmm.
that second piece is all about self-management. Now that you're in transition, now we're in a really powerful place of healing, grounding, creating I find when with transition, it's really interesting. I usually go up, and ask, the universe for guidance, like in wisdom, which is also really powerful when you're in transition. But I really find that when people are going through this kind of transition, like a physical transition, asking Mother Earth for grounding. really creating a really powerful root system in your first chakra and just really feeling that beautiful liberation energy coming from Mother Earth, just bringing us that freedom and connectedness that we really need, you know? Do you agree?
So crazy. I do. That's so crazy. My meditation meetup on Monday this week was that. So, my meditations, I don't know what we're going to meditate about. They're not
Yeah.
pre-planned. I show up and I let my guides and spirit guide it. It was
Mm.
all about the earth and grounding.
Wow.
All of
Really?
it. It was, yes. Isn't that funny you're saying that? And then we're talking about this right now. It
Yeah.
was, and visualizing this beautiful red light coming up into our feet. It was about our root
Yes.
chakra. It was like really anchoring, tethering. It was wild. And that here we are talking about it. And I do
Wow.
feel that. I feel like it's, that would benefit me the most in what's going on with my mom and even with my
Yeah.
daughter.
Yeah.
It's this is all changes within my core family that are happening, right?
Yes.
And I think my first instinct is to get grounded, like
Yeah.
anchoring myself. And I think maybe that's where the river comes in too. It's like, okay, the river's part of this earth, the
Yes.
flow. Fire is my element, so water is my balance. So I think that's why
Yes.
I can go there and say, okay, I need to really fucking ground myself right now
Yeah.
and acknowledge what's going on, my feelings, how am I feeling, what do I need, and then, you
Hmm.
know, seek help, get support. I probably
Yeah.
was thinking too, I might need to talk to others. So if there's anyone in our audience that has either gone through this or is also going through, a parent who is losing their memory of sorts, I would love to connect with you because I am
Yeah.
someone that's never experienced it and I would love someone else's experience or advice that you think could help me, right? Or help others.
Yes. I love it.
Because that would be
Yes.
my next step is to see who else has gone through this that could share with me,
Yes.
this is what happened. This is what I did that worked. This is what I did that didn't work.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Yes. And
And
that's for me, that's number three. That's asking for help, and a
yeah,
lot of people, I think we struggle with that. I mean, you and I don't, because we ask for help. Well, I mean, we especially each other in our safe group, and we have some really powerful
yeah,
sisterhoods. So, but for a lot of people that might not have that support, asking for help can feel really vulnerable. It can feel like you're being weak somehow, and I want to honor that. But I think it goes back to number one. If you're in a real true state of awareness, right? And you're really seriously in connection with what is happening right now, it's just a natural progression, right? To
yeah,
ask, to get the answers you need. So it's kind of like a circle,
yeah,
isn't it? You ask
yeah,
for help and create more awareness, and then you create more, that's the pivotal part for me, is that healing, that self-healing, connecting with yourself, creating that root system where you're nourishing yourself with Mother Earth and her divine, sovereign, ancient
yeah,
power, but also releasing some of that anxiety and stress during transition, because Mother Earth can transmute that. She changes our anger and our fear and our, give it away. She can take that. She wants to help us, right? As well as our ancestors, our spiritual ancestors, through our crown chakra. So asking that, number two part about self-management, I think it is calling in your tribe, your
yeah,
spiritual tribe, right? So it's really about like asking our ancestors, asking I know for me, when I was going through my breast cancer journey, that was really powerful. For me, was calling in my ancestors to not only, help me deal with the pain and the fear of going through the breast cancer journey, but also stopping it in my body, but
yeah.
also stopping it in my daughter's bodies.
Yes.
So it was like, for me, that second number two healing, was like divine. It was like, I need help spiritually, and I need help from Gaia, because
Yeah,
she's my woman and my
yeah,
sovereign power. So, really finding your special practice of self-healing And that's something Mayume and I help people with all the time, right? Like
Yeah.
if you're struggling with that piece of this formula, absolutely reach out. Yeah.
Yeah. We would
Yeah.
love to help. That's in our Lightworkers discovery sessions, right?
Mm,
That we can help you with that.
yes.
Yeah, kind of go a little deeper. You get to spend 90 minutes with us and talk about what's going on with you. And maybe it is a transition that you're dealing with, or maybe it is some insight or guidance. But the
Yeah.
transitioning part, we all can't do it alone. And I know
No.
there's lots of us out there because fear, when it settles in, is when we don't have control any longer, or we want control, but we don't have it, so we're scared.
Yeah.
And that's when people hold on even tighter or try to manage everything and everyone. But letting go with the flow, ask for help, seek guidance, and get informed. All those things to help you in with whatever transition you're going through. There's always
Yeah.
someone who is either going through it with you or has already. I mean, with just about every experience, someone has
Yeah.
already gone through it and can help.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I
absolutely.
love that.
And yeah, so the formula is acknowledgement, right? Where we do some data collection, create a reality around what is the truth in your life right now. And then number two is this concept of self-healing, creating a protection bubble around yourself, creating some grounding, asking for divine wisdom to support you during your transition. I could not have made it through my breast cancer journey without that. I
Yes.
really couldn't have. I would have been
Yeah.
so stuck in fear mode. But the second piece, number two, is all about embracing your power and releasing fear. So, and then number three is really asking for help. So for me, it was asking my sisterhood. It was asking, my physicians, my brother, who's a medical physicist, like help me with my radiation treatment planning. Like I was asking for all the help in all the different quadrants for my healing, energetically,
Yeah.
spiritually, physically, emotionally, and just I think really just knowing you're not alone during transition. There are people to always support you. Yeah.
Yes. I love that, Manjeet. It's perfect. Perfect.
Mm,
Well said. And I
love it.
think those are really solid and easy to understand tools. I mean, if you, because sometimes
Yeah.
we become overwhelmed and we're like, oh my God, I'm feeling this and I don't know what to do. And you become
Yeah.
stuck, like paralyzed. And so just kind of starting with one, just,
Yeah.
okay, acknowledging. And like you said, these three easy steps to help you in your transition, and it can be applied to any transition, really.
Yeah.
Very small transitions like moving, from one house to another, as a transitions, or
Yeah.
so, and then the physical things that you may be going through, or even death. I mean, I've had some friends
Yeah.
and family that are really going through some huge losses in their life. And
Yeah.
I just think this will serve them in knowing, okay, I'm not alone and I need to really acknowledge how I'm feeling. I'm scared, I'm sad,
Yeah.
I'm angry. All those emotions are human and very real. And so we don't ever want to discount us being light workers and talking about all of the fun topics and enlightenment that we get into. We have to really acknowledge that we are, yes, light beings, but we're having this human experience. And so it's a balance
Yes.
of both. We have to acknowledge that I'm human and I want the best human experience possible. So to really get anchored into earth and using my guides to help with this human experience is really going to benefit everyone if they can
Yeah.
co-create with spirit in the same time. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I love that. And it's interesting because we have our next goddess gathering is coming up and it's Shakti.
Yes.
I just thought of that.
Shakti.
And so every month
It's
we connect with a different goddess energy to give us guidance and understanding. And it's so interesting. We did not plan this, but I
I know.
literally just saw Shakti like walk like by my, like cross my room. And I was like, oh shit. So She is the goddess of transition and power. So
Transformation.
transformation.
Yes.
Yeah. So if this episode is resonating with you in any shape or form, you might really enjoy some messages from the powerful, transformative Shakti who can bring us some very specific. I mean, when these goddesses come through, holy shit, they're like
I
so
know, it's really powerful.
specific with, yeah, what they want to messaging for each person. So if that resonates with you, if this is resonating, you might really enjoy the next one. I think we have a couple spots left. So I just thought I'd throw that out there.
Yeah, we do. That would be
Shakti.
awesome. Yeah, that's when is that? That is August. Is it 25th? It's a Wednesday.
August
I'm just going to throw the
26th.
date out there.
It's the 26th. Or oh, sorry, 25th. August
Yep, there it is.
25th. Yeah.
Wednesday, August 25th. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
So
guys, it's 6:30 to 8. It is over Zoom, so no matter where you're coming from or listening to this, you can join us. We hold 10 spots for 10 women,
yeah.
and we actually do readings. It's delivering messages straight from the goddess who we invoke and bring into the circle. So it's pretty badass stuff.
Yeah,
It's
it's a
super
lot of
fun.
fun. It's a lot of fun. And so she made her appearance as we're finishing the show. She
Okay.
was like, Don't forget about me,
I love it.
bitches. Um,
Wow. Ooh,
I
yeah.
want to, and so it's just a really great reminder for me that, during our hardest times, we really aren't alone. We really do have
No, we're not.
just this profound connection with our goddesses and our spiritual ancestors and our spirit guides, as well as
Yeah.
the people on this planet to help us. So
That's right. Yeah, you're
I
not
love
alone,
you.
everyone. I love you
Yeah.
more. So this was a
Oh,
great topic and very well needed, even for myself.
yeah, me
Yeah.
too. So
So,
great.
it's good. It's good to just be aware that we're always in transition
Yeah.
and, embrace that life. And let's get on a river and do some floating and let's
Yeah,
do it together.
yeah. That's going to be one of our retreats, I
Yeah.
think. It's going to be on one of our
How
group activities.
awesome.
So that's coming. We're having a retreat,
I
and so
love
get
it.
ready, ladies. It's and so
I love
I
it when you
would.
say it. So that's coming.
Mm-hmm,
That's
mm-hmm.
coming.
I know.
Okay.
So just collectively, maybe our audience, if you're listening to this, if you're open to sending Mayum and her mom some love
Oh,
and light during this transition, I
thank
know
you.
that you will feel it because we love you and we love her, and
Oh, thanks.
it's gonna be magical transition for you guys.
It's going to be okay. Everything's going to
Yeah,
be okay.
it's gonna be
Yep.
okay. Yes.
Thank you. I love
Mwah.
you. All right.
Namaste. I
Thanks,
love
Jen.
you.
Namaste, everyone. Bye, guys.
Bye.